My friend Katie Davis Courts out of Seattle works with Turning Point USA and had been at Post Millennial for years. Still there, reporter at Post Millennial. Catholic, law and justice, news tips. That's her Twitter bio. Really good reporter on the street. She writes this. The FBI arrested a Seattle woman accused of shooting a Border Patrol agent and unaliving him on Monday. Teresa Youngblood, 21, had been under periodic surveillance before the event and was found in the possession of black tactical gear, ammunition, weapons, according to an FBI affidavit. She'd been charged in unaliving a Border Patrol agent named David Milan, 44, and that incident occurred in Vermont. According to the FBI, Milan initiated an immigration traffic stop, pulling over Youngblood, who immediately exited the vehicle and began using a firearm and unalived Milan. A German national identified as Felix Bockholt was a passenger in the vehicle. He reached for his firearm, and police were able to stop him with a projectile before he could properly use his instrument of harm. An investigation into Youngblood and Bockholt was initiated after a hotel employee reported to police they'd been carrying these tools of destruction while wearing black tactical gear outside the property, according to the affidavit. The pair was placed under periodic surveillance. 2 hours before this latest event, investigators observed Bockholt exit a Walmart with 2 packages of aluminum foil. He was then seen wrapping unidentified objects in the passenger seat of the vehicle. The FBI conducted a search of the car after this confrontation and found cell phones wrapped in foil, ballistic helming, I think that means helmet, night vision goggles, ammunition, and respirators. Additionally, a package of shooting range targets, radios, travel, and lodging information was also recovered. According to social media, Youngblood is a computer science student at the University of Washington. Andy No, investigative journalist who has written a great book on Antifa, which is an idea. I can confirm that the German migrant who was the accomplice to the assault on the officer, resulting in the unaliving of a Border Patrol agent in Vermont on Inauguration Day, is a so-called trans activist. Other so-called trans activists have been pressuring people who knew this person, Felix Bockholt, who was unalived in the shootout, to remain quiet. The female accomplice in the car, Teresa Youngblood, has been charged. So he's confirming the involvement of an idea in this event, an idea called Antifa, an idea that is still on college campuses, particularly the University of Washington, and it's welcomed and it's applauded. And I'll prove that to you in just a second. It's an unhealthy thing to welcome groups like this. It's an unhealthy thing to not recognize when you need health help, okay, because it gets worse. So you can hear me talk about sleep health and say, yeah, I know it's a tough season and I'm not getting a lot of sleep, but ain't no way I'm going to get help for it. Okay, so what else do sleep problems do? Consistently not sleeping well will contribute to depression and anxiety and bad decision-making and loss of your body's ability to properly deal with nutrition. If you're trying to be healthy in terms of exercise or muscle mass, you want to maintain muscle mass or grow it, it'll destroy that. It'll increase inflammation because your body doesn't have time to heal. And it can create confusion because your body doesn't have an opportunity to defrag your mind. So sleep problems become life problems. It's the simplest thing. We've worked with Bioptimizers now going on almost 3 years, no, it's closer to 4. And we've had great stellar reviews from viewers and listeners, and I have their products shipped to me quarterly. I'm on subscription with them, and I think it's 5 or 6 products I have shipped to me automatically. They're all in a protocol for me. Sleep protocol is this. On regular sleep nights where I need some help, it's, every night, magnesium breakthrough, about an hour before bed. And on nights I know I'm going to have problems sleeping or I'm not going to be able to get a lot of sleep, like last night, I knew I'd only get about 5 hours of sleep. I stack on top of that sleep breakthrough. And in that case, though it's only 5 hours of sleep, my watch, my fancy watch, says I had good sleep because it was solid all the night through. So it's a simple thing. You need help. Go to boptimizers.com/Todd. You get 10% off all their products there. When you subscribe, you get exclusive offers, exclusive gifts, exclusive information, and you never run out of product. boptimizers.com/Todd. Here is Antifa on the University of Washington campus, an idea walking around.
All right, so we're heading...
Oh, by the way, this is Jonathan's show. Jonathan is an investigative journalist with the Discovery Institute. He got unjobbed at Como News in Seattle, an ABC affiliate, because he decided to interview the Proud Boys. He was sent down to Olympia to do a story about Antifa and the Proud Boys, and he, as a journalist, did a terrible thing. He interviewed the Proud Boys. So here's Jonathan on the UW campus.
To the quad right now, you got this kid, Gabriel Jones, Antifa. You see this kid, he's getting his comrades because they spot me. How you doing, man? So this is the quad. This is called the Liberated Zone.
So the Liberated Zone is where people get to live in tents on public property. They get to have cookouts and band plays, and this is the Liberated Zone. What's it say? Free Palestine, death to the Zionists. Oh, that's not terrible. It is terrible. Here we go.
The Antifa goons now just following me. They're all scurrying away. They put my address on the umbrellas. You gonna let me walk on a public street here, guys?
So if you're not watching this, they're surrounding them with black umbrellas because this is what they do. You're not allowed to film because you're a fascist.
Mental health check-in. Interesting. Just mind my business. Hey, get your...
Hey, back up.
Oh, look at this. Look at the shield. Look at this guy. Look at the chubby kids. Come on. Come on. Yep. Oh, man. These people are so insufferable. Wow, look at how many Antifa. They're all coming out of the tents.
And okay, so Jonathan wisely has security with him. And the Antifa types are trying to get to Jonathan. He has body guys with him. UW campus lets this continue.
Okay, now we're gonna rip 5 in our hands.
Ready?
Hey, get them on film, Jonathan.
Remember, this is all about peace. Right? This is all about anti-fascism. This college, University of Washington, should be defunded. Because if they didn't have federal funds propping them up, they'd have to actually compete. They'd actually have to provide some value to students. And they wouldn't allow stuff like this to run wild because there'd be parents going, I'm paying what for this? So there was a TP USA, Turning Point USA event there. And at this event, the Antifa militants, which is an idea, decided to, as an idea, go stop a free speech event. And I'll tell you what the president of the University of Washington said when she learned about this event.
Are you a man pretending to be a woman? Which one are you? Can't tell with that umbrella off.
So they're demanding Jonathan shows kids.
Take money from Russia? That's wild.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, look at these umbrella people.
Now, all of this is because Jonathan Cho was there at this TPUSA event where, once again, these people trapped a woman from Turning Points USA into one of the classrooms, banging on the door, threatening her because she was going to give a speech. The president of the University of Washington said that these groups come to provoke, that this is what they want. They want to be shut down. They're provocative. The provocation was Turning Points USA going to do a presentation on conservative thought, on foreign relations, which used to be the purview of colleges. These colleges should be defunded. Take away the federal funding, and they can't use the rest of the funding for playtime like this. They can't sustain activities like this. It'd be harder for them to do that. They'll have to actually pay the bills. Right now, they don't have to pay the bills. Now, that's the UW. This is Columbia University, and I haven't forgotten what I said at the beginning of the show, or this segment, which is, it's defund the colleges and engage the dads. Columbia University students in a classroom, when activists show up and decide to start handing out flyers that say curse Zionism and are making threats against people because of their faith. And of course, they're wearing masks and scarves. And thank God, a lot of the students aren't having it. They're tossing the garbage on the ground where it belongs. Finally, there are people standing up to this. Columbia, that allowed those people, and maybe students, to walk in, should be defunded. You're coddling this. Engaging the dads, how is this possibly connected? Someone somewhere has a daddy problem. When you have never been disciplined, you have never had the strong hand of a masculine father come and discipline you. These are the sort of behaviors you have, because you have never faced accountability. You've never faced a comeuppance. You've never maybe had a time where you're locked in your room, your phone is taken away, or God forbid, and I only spanked my little girl once. I hated it. She hated it. I never had to do it again. But they've never had this strong father type be a model for, here's how you show you have a problem with this society. Here's how you do this in a proper way. Here's how you respectfully push back. Here's how you engage free speech as a man, as a godly man. They've never had that. They're also seeking something bigger than themselves, which they've never been taught from a parent. That bigger than yourself, the only bigger than yourself that matters is the eternal. They've never had that model. So they're seeking something. They're seeking to have some form of meaning, something bigger than themselves, and they're grabbing onto anything because their psyches are drowning. Their souls are drowning in meaningless video games and meaningless political arguments. Meaningless. Politics matter, but not when you're pretending everybody's a fascist. When you look through the college campuses and you look at the people who are the idea of Antifa, you're going to have some very consistent things. You're going to have depression. You're going to have lostness. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to have desperation. Desperation to matter. Because they've never been taught that the mattering that lasts is the mattering to God.